Hi, we're on section 9.2 and we're going to still be using that simple interest formula, but in a different way. And part of that is to learn how to calculate correctly with your calculator using the parentheses. And so I'm going to explain to you how to enter this on your calculator. So the fraction bar means division. So you would say 45 divided by 0.04 times 3 divided by 5. And your parenthesis keys are, I don't know, maybe somewhat midway down on your calculator. There's a left and right parenthesis key right beside each other. So you just have to hit the key, enter this, make sure you close the parentheses by getting the one on the right. And then when you push your equal key, you should get 1,875. Just make sure you can calculate this correctly. That's what is important here. So 8 3/4% is 8.75%, and we need to enter this as a decimal number, right? So we're going to enter it as 0.0875 for this calculation. So here's how we enter it on our calculator. 11,418.75 divided by, super important, you've got to have this parentheses so it knows to divide by the number you get from multiplying 43,500 times the 0.0875, which is 8 3/4%. But you're telling it, I need this number so I can divide the 11,418.75 by that number. And this one turns out to be a very simple answer of 3. So once again, make sure you can calculate this and that you know if you're dividing by more than one number, which means you know that's something you're multiplying, you have to use those parentheses for your calculator to know what to do. The calculator is only as good as the person putting in the numbers. And so we're going to look at these, the formula in different ways. So we have another circle chart here, and notice this one's I, and then the PRT is on in the bottom, right? So that means that we might be dividing or we might be multiplying. If we're finding the interest, we multiply, right? P times R times T, that's how that's going to work. If we are finding finding P, then that means you kind of just cover this up, right? Let's cover this up. And I'm taking I divided by R times T. And so that's how that works. So the missing part kind of helps you there. And also know this bar is a, this is our division bar. So it's telling me if I'm solving for one of the ones on the bottom, I'm going to be dividing. If I'm solving for the I, I'm multiplying. And so then if I am trying to find R, right, that's like this is gone, and I is divided by P times T. If I'm looking for T, then right, I don't have anything there, and I'm going to take the I and divide it by P times R. And then of course the main thing is getting numbers, where they belong and calculating correctly. Okay, so if you will use the circle, I think the circle is super helpful, and hopefully you'll use it, because one of the things that students struggle with is, do I divide or do I multiply? So this is going to tell you, and I have a $53 is my interest. On this one we're solving for P. So P is my missing part. Remember, this is PRT, and the part I don't know is P. So my interest rate is 8.2%, and we're going to calculate that with 0.08 2. We're going to move the decimal to the left and take off the percent sign. And my time is 7 months, so that's 7 months out of 12 months. Remember, I'm doing a portion of the year. Here's how I set up my calculation. 53 divided by parentheses 0.082 times 7 divided by 12. Close the parenthesis. Make sure you use your parentheses. This doesn't work otherwise. This is dollars and cents, right? We're finding principal, which is a dollar amount. And my principal is $1,108.01. Rounding properly is something that you just have to learn to do. Always be paying attention to the number that follows where you're rounding to, and so for dollars and cents we're always rounding to 2 places after the decimal, so you're looking at the third number to tell you what to do. Alright, so we've got IPRT. So on this one we do know the interest. It's $34.52. We are solving for P again. Our interest rate is 13.5%. I'm just going to go ahead and change 1/2 to 0.5. As a decimal, that's 0.135. This is 142 days, and we're using the U.S. rule, which means 365 days in a year. So we will write this as 142 over 365. And then solve for P. This is how we enter this on our calculator. 34.52 divided by left parenthesis 0.135 times 142 divided by 365. Close your parentheses, round properly. Right, so my principal is $657.27. Right, that's solving for P, which is the principal. All right, next. Now we're solving for R. And we'll talk about that as we are setting this up. Notice I went ahead and labeled in the circle now, and so you don't have to write it in yourself. And so we know the principal, the interest, and the time, so we're solving for R. That's where our question mark is going to go. My interest is $125. Principal $5,600. And time is 150 days. U.S. rule would be 365. And then I calculate. So to find the rate, we're going to take 125 and divide it by, put the parentheses in, because remember, we're dividing by the part that's underneath the bar that goes all the way across the circle. So 5,600 times 150 divided by 365. Make sure you close your parenthesis. Now when I calculate this, I get this decimal number, 0.05431. Well, that is an interest rate, and we'll round to the nearest 100th of a percent, so that means 2 places after the decimal. And that would give us 5.43%, right? That's what we found when we calculated the rate. All right. Let's see, how many slides do I have? All right, let's do one more. And before I stop this for the next video. So we're looking for rate again. And we know our amount of interest, we know the principal, and we know that time is for 9 months. So interest $678.84. My principal is $10,570. I'm looking for the rate. This is 9 months out of 12 months, right? So it's fine to do your calculation like that. Oh yeah, rate equals, so 678.84. We're dividing by principal times time, so 10,570 times 9 divided by 12, and then we just do our calculation, right? This is what you enter, just exactly like I have it written. When we calculate this, it's 0.08563. As a percent, right, my rate would be 8.56%, rounded to the nearest hundredth of a percent. I'm going to go back one slide and check something. Okay. So I'm stopping the video here, and I will pick up with the rest of these examples on the next video.